On my 20th birthday, my grandpa gave me the keys to his $1 million company. But the next morning, the locks were changed, my access was gone, and my uncle was sitting in my office chair. That day, I promised myself one thing. I'd take everything back, no matter how long it took. I was 20 when life handed me everything I thought I'd ever wanted. My grandfather, Richard Cole, founder of Cole & Sons Industries, called me into his office on my 20th birthday. He wasn't just my grandpa, he was my hero. He started his company in his garage and built it into a multi-million-dollar logistics firm. And that day, he looked at me and said, "You remind me of me when I was young. Take this key. It's time someone fresh took over." He handed me a small golden key, the symbolic key to the main office. The next morning, everything changed. I arrived at the office early, smiling, ready to start my new role. But when I swiped my key card, access denied. The receptionist looked uncomfortable. "Sorry, sir, your name's not on the system anymore." I laughed at first, thinking it was a mistake. But when I got to my grandpa's office, it wasn't him behind the desk. It was my uncle, David. He was smirking. "Kid, you're too young. We had to make some changes. It's for the good of the company." I demanded to see my grandpa, but he was suddenly out of town. 2 days later, my mother told me he'd had a fall and was resting quietly at the family estate. Something didn't add up. I drove 3 hours to see him, but when I got there, a private nurse blocked the door. "Mr. Cole needs rest." Grandpa's eyes looked distant, medicated. And that's when I noticed the papers beside his bed. New ownership documents with my uncle's name at the top. My stomach twisted. A week later, Grandpa was gone. And in the will reading, everything went to my uncle. The house, the company, the cars. I was left with nothing. Within months, I was working part-time at a local tech shop. Everyone in the family ignored me, especially Uncle David. He ran the company like a dictator and turned my grandpa's legacy into greed. But I didn't give up. At night, I started freelancing, building websites, writing code, fixing systems for clients. Soon, I started my own small IT startup called Cole Digital. Every penny I earned went into one thing: revenge. 3 years later, I landed my first major client, a mid-tier logistics firm, one of Cole & Sons' competitors. Within a year, I was running their entire digital infrastructure and quietly collecting every legal and public record tied to my old family business. And then I found something. A transaction trail showing David had forged Grandpa's signature using falsified medical clearance forms days before his death. He drugged his own father. He'd stolen everything. I built a new company under a false name, RC Solutions, and quietly started buying out small suppliers linked to Cole & Sons. Then, in one brutal year, I cut off every supply chain my uncle depended on. Contracts collapsed, trucks sat idle, clients fled. And when Cole & Sons Industries was desperate for a buyout, guess who stepped in? Mr. Richard Cole Jr., representing RC Solutions. He didn't recognize me at first. I wore a tailored suit, glasses, a calm demeanor. When I removed my glasses and said, "Remember this key?" I placed the golden key on the table. His face went pale. I bought his company for 10% of what it was worth. And for poetic justice, I made him stay on as my employee. 6 months later, I visited my grandpa's grave. I placed the same golden key on his tombstone. "You trusted me once, Grandpa. I finally earned it." That night, my uncle quit the company. He sent me one message: "You destroyed me." I replied, "No, Uncle, you did that yourself." Revenge isn't always about anger. Sometimes it's about patience. My uncle taught me what greed looks like, but my grandpa taught me what legacy means. And legacy, unlike money, can't be stolen. The best revenge is rebuilding yourself higher than they ever imagined.